Welcome back to our Business Partner tutorial series. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at setting up and managing finishes. So from the dashboard, I'll go ahead and get there just so you can kind of have that starting point, that anchor. That's where we always start. When you open the program, that's where you'll start. You'd come to the cabinet setup and come to finishes. And as always, you'll have your list view. And you can search if you want. You can narrow down this list by coming over here and choosing some portion of it. Right now we have 114 of 114 finish processes, but they're made up of glaze colors, paint colors, and stain colors. So if you only wanted to look for stain colors, you could choose that and narrow this list down. If you were looking for something in particular, you could start typing. And as soon as you type in a couple letters, you'll get the list narrowed down to the things that have just those letters in them. So we found something here, ginger finish, by doing that. But I'm going to choose a little bit of a complex finish here for our example. And so now that we're here, this is one of the last databases other than labor rates. So I'm going to do a quick review of these icons up here. The plus is used to add a new finish process. The double plus or duplicated plus here is the duplicate button. So this would duplicate this one, add the word duplicate to the end, and allow you to edit that one. And then you have your search field, and then you have your delete icon. The delete icon would actually delete this particular finish process, and then you could go back to your list view there. So in this particular case, since this is a fairly complex finish, color tone, glaze, antique, distress, I would recommend always, when you're creating new finishes, to duplicate. Don't start with the create new, but start with the duplicate. That way you have some sort of pattern to go by, and you have something started with. You'd back out the word duplicate, change the appropriate things here, change the appropriate things in the pricing, and then you'd be up and running. Alright, so let's get down to the meat of this portion. As always, I want to review the math that goes on here on this page. And this one's a little different than some of the others because we have this complex and simple component. None of the other databases have this. And you see here we have a percentage entered. In this version of Business Partner, as it's the old copy of Business Partner, there's nowhere for you to edit this default. It's just an arbitrary number we chose. It can be changed per finish, but most people don't. But in the next version, in version 7, we will give you a default field somewhere where if you wanted that to be 66% or 62% or 30%, if you wanted to change it in the whole program, you'd have to go to your finishes and just go through this list. Just start at the top and go to the bottom and edit that number, just like you were changing the prices or something like that. So in this particular database, we're going with two cost finish. So this is what would be in Conestoga's case, this particular finish being a Conestoga finish. This would be their cost, but we do some math in the back side here to get you down to one side, because there's some parts you might be finishing in-house where we're using the in-house portion of it that you're only finishing one side of, and we do have control of that. If we're outsourcing it, the cost is what the cost is, but when we're finishing it in-house, if we're leaving one side raw, there's a different cost involved. So we're taking that two-sided cost and turning it into a one-sided cost. Here we're giving you your supplier discount. Here's your in-house cost, and this is just would be for the materials only because this is the material section. So what do the materials cost for you to finish 1 square foot of a product with these 4 components here? And then your labor is a calculated field, as we've done in other places for the in-house. We're calculating a labor based on what it would cost you to buy it from someone else minus what you say the materials cost. And then any field that has a red line around it allows you to override it. If you do override it, the numbers will turn red to be an indicator to you if you ever come back here that you have overridden this cost. And here we have the simple percentage on the material side as 100% because the material cost is the same regardless of whether it's a complex piece of crown mold, or you could have a piece of crown mold that's 4 inches wide and 96 inches long or 8 feet long that is very, very complex, and then you could have a little piece of toe board that's 4 inches wide and 8 feet long that is very, very simple, just a flat piece. But the material cost for those two are virtually the same. So we're going to charge 100% of this $2.19, and so we end up with a finished calculated cost of $2.19. Over here, when you get to the material portion, we have a complex cost. This is our outsourced cost from Conestoga per part, And then from that, we give you this ability with this percentage here to say, well, if I'm finishing this part myself, it's not as hard to finish as this complex part. Again, using that crown mold versus toe kick analogy, the cost per part, as far as the labor that you put into it, is 67% of this $28.25. So 2/3, it's a third less hard to finish, let's say. And then down here, we're doing the converting to the two sides. So now you understand the cost here. The only other feature on this page is that you do have your sublist view, which allows you, right now we're on this color tone glaze antique distress 3. This list here would allow you to move, and you see that the one we're currently on is highlighted. If we wanted to move to another one, we could do it here. If we wanted to sort down to, I only want to see the finished processes, or I only want to see, you know, the glaze colors, the paint colors, the stain colors. The finished processes are the only thing in this database that have a cost with them. The glaze colors and all of those, they do not have, the cost is carried within the finished process. But you're able to, here on this sub list, pare this list down to something manageable to find what you want to do. This is ideal when you're adjusting prices, to just go through this list and just, you know, scroll down till you find the one you're currently on, and, you know, find that one, and then go back and go to the next one, and then go to the next one, and make sure you just go down the list and adjust the price for each one when you have those price increases from your vendors. So thanks for watching yet another business partner estimating software tutorial. Up next, setting up and managing labor rates.